Welcome back to Cyberology, Dakota State's podcast for all things cyber and technology. Today I have a special guest with us, one of our DSU students, Gwen. Gwen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Gwen. I'm very active on the DSU campus and in cybersecurity competitions, but recently I went off of this. Uh, I am a member of a lot of things. For example, the DSU Children's volleyball team. I've been on for the past 3 seasons. I'm also on the DPTC team, which is a collegiate penetration tester competition for DSU this past year, and on many other different cyber competition teams throughout the years. I also run the CTF club, and I'm on the DSU Student Senate. So I tend to be seen around the DSU cyber arena a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So that's kind of why we wanted to bring you on, is we wanted to talk about all of the extracurricular activities you've been involved with and the competitions specifically in the cyber world. And I know you've participated in things as local as just a DSU competition challenges all the way to international scope. So I thought we could start with just how you got your passion for competing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so I actually first got introduced to cybersecurity in high school, and it was through competition. There's a program called CyberStart, which unfortunately has been discontinued since then, but they used to be really cool, and it's basically a CTF-like platform that would kind of train you from the ground up. Like, I knew nothing about cybersecurity, but I was a Civil Air Patrol cadet at that time, and there was a program that was for Civil Air Patrol and Air Force JROTC cadets, and it was over the summer. And it was just like, oh, come and like try out the cybersecurity world. And I was like, oh, sure. Like, why not? Why not try it? And I basically got addicted to it. And I spent my entire summer on it. Ended up placing second on the leaderboard, so I won a laptop from that, which was my first laptop.
Cool.
And then ever since then, I just kept doing more and more competitions. That was actually how I first got into DSU too, because I was second to Austin King from Dakota State.
Oh, okay. Fun. So as you kind of got into the cyber world and ended up coming to DSU to go to school, what kept you interested in competing and kind of expanding your knowledge that way?
So I think competitions are an amazing way to keep extending your knowledge, because whenever there's some new technique or something, someone makes a CTF challenge about it. And someone puts it in a competition. Additionally, when you compete, it's you're in a high pressure environment, and so you're being tasked with these things to do, and you have like a short period of time to do it, and you try to do it as fast as possible, faster than anyone else, but still like in a way that works, right? And so I think it's really good for, I guess, in the workforce, and also for me personally, I think it's just really fun. The main thing with competition, I think it's super fun. I have a very competitive nature. I think I've been an athlete my whole life, and the cyber competitions are just another way to I guess, compete. And there's also the teamwork aspect of it. Like, you have to learn how to work in a team, and especially in cyber competitions, you're virtual a lot. So you have to be able to work with a virtual team as well.
Okay. And how have these competitions kind of helped you absorb the information that you're learning in your classes and kind of apply it to these real world situations?
Yeah, so in my classes, I'm learning it's a very structured approach to learning cybersecurity versus competitions. You're kind of thrown off the deep end a little bit. It's like you have to do your own research, right? And a lot of things that I learned in competitions during high school and even now college, I've been able to apply to my classes. Like, it transferred directly back to things I'm doing in my classes. And my classes kind of help fill in the gaps of what I learned from competitions, because in competitions you only really learn like a segment of it. And the classes here really help fill in all of the extra knowledge, help supplement that. And then, well, I guess right now I'm studying it as the classes as supplement to competition, but it's more of the competition supplement to classes. Either way.
They kind of work together.
Right, they work together to form like a really good, well-rounded experience.
And can you kind of talk about the different subject matter of the competitions? I know you do capture the flag. Can you talk a little bit about what capture the flag is in the cyber world?
Yeah, I've realized I've been using the word CTF. So CTF stands for capture the flag, And the main category of CTF that I started with, and that is what the CTF club that I run is also focused on, is Jeopardy CTF. And what that means is you'll have all of these challenges, and they'll be worth a certain amount of points when you solve them. And how you solve them is it'll be some sort of, say you have to hack into a website portal or something like that. And once you hack into it, they'll give you a string of characters in a certain format, and that's called a flag. And you'll just copy and paste that into the challenge like solve box. And if you have the correct flag, then you'll get the points for that challenge. And some CTFs will have it like, oh, they'll have dynamic scoring. So it's like the more people solve it, then the points go down each time. So that further incentivizes you to keep solving more and more. And then some of them are just like hard coded. Oh, this one is worth 300 points. This one is worth 50 points. And you just try to get as many points as you possibly can before the timer runs out. So that's what a capture the flag competition is. And those are the main ones that I do.
Okay. And so what's it like competing with people from around the world? You've done local, you've done national, you've done international. Do you have a favorite competition to participate in?
Ooh, okay. So my probably favorite one overall that I've ever done would be the recent one in Tokyo, which was with the U.S. Women's Cyber Team, which is the first ever like all women's national cyber team. And I was able to be a co-captain of their team while I was and go to compete in like the first Kanoichi Cyber Games. Kanoichi means I think like ninja or something in Japanese in Japan. And it was at the Code Blue conference. And Code Blue is kind of like a Japan version of DEF CON sort of conference. The very cybersecurity focused conference, right? And it was just me and my teammates. There were 7 of us, plus a lot of other teams who, we were other teams from the UK, there's a team from Japan, and there's a team from Europe. And I think they're hoping to have more teams next year and to add even more to competition. And that one was just so much fun because I got to meet all these other amazing women in cybersecurity who were from other countries, like internationally. And some of them I knew from before because I had met them in like San Diego at previous international cybersecurity competitions. And some of them also, I also met some of the Europe team I knew from a European cybersecurity camp that I went to in Norway. But most of them were new, and we all bonded pretty fast, and we were all talking the entire time. And they were just surprised. They're like, normally the teams don't talk this much, but you guys just kind of, we're all yapping to each other from the beginning. So
it was really clicked.
Yeah, we really clicked. Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you expect when you started participating in cyber competitions to become such a world traveler?
I did not at all. I was not expecting that. When I was in high school, I only did virtual ones, right? I knew that some of the CPS did have in-person finals, but I never expected to actually be able to go to a competition in person, except for the school competitions, which is actually one of the things I'm looking forward to at DSU because I know they do a lot of university competitions. So I was looking forward to being on university teams which are in person, which I've traveled for, to like Illinois, Tennessee, New York, a couple other places for those competitions. But I never thought I would travel internationally for a CTF. Like that's very unlikely to me. So.
Okay, and what's it like working on a team, university-wise, when you get some of your classmates together and you all are super interested in competition?
Yeah, it's really awesome working in person. I had never, before I came to DSU, I had never been on any sort of in-person, like offensive cybersecurity team. And when I came here, I had the opportunity to do that. The first competition I think I did with DSU was the Hack the Hospital competition. And it had a virtual regionals, or virtual qualifiers. And then I think the top teams got to go to finals, which is in Maryland. And they paid for you to go to finals. So they sent DSU, I think, $10,000 for us to go to finals. And that competition was just so much fun in general. They had a whole hospital, like a fake hospital, set up with like all the infrastructure and everything. And we just had to like hack it as best as we could. And there's like a blue team working against us too, because there's a red team and a blue team side. And there were also other universities playing the blue team against us. And they were also being scored on blue team. So I think that was the first one I ever did. And that one was really cool. Like during the virtual qualifiers, you're sitting on your laptop, like working on it, and it'll look up around the table, and it's like, they're actually right here next to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not just talking to them on a Discord call like I normally would do for a CPF, but they're actually like in front of me. I thought that was really cool.
And was it a good adjustment or exciting or fun to have them right next to you to be able to be like, hey, what do you think of this that we're working on right now?
Yes. It's just so much simpler, like obviously you still want to put some stuff in communication channels, like write it down. But you can just like tap the person next to you and be like, oh, what do you think about such and such? Or like, oh, I noticed that you're like, you can just look at a screen and be like, oh, you're using this tool. I have this other tool that I found that would probably work on that. And it's just much easier to collaborate when you're in person than when you have just a virtual setting.
Okay. And what is the most unexpected lesson you've taken from these competitions?
Ooh, most unexpected lesson. That's a hard one.
Put me on the spot.
Yeah.
We can come back to that. That's okay.
Okay, we'll come back to
that. So what do you enjoy the most about the teamwork aspect of competitions?
I think working as a team in general is very important for both, competition as well as in the real world and just life in general. It's very important to know how to work as a team. And if you don't work as a team, then you're just a group of individuals and you're not necessarily aligned, you're not working at the same goal. And I've seen this many times in cyber competitions where some teams will have the best individuals, but they just won't collaborate well, they won't communicate well. And then this other team that has a really good bond and they work very well together will beat them in the competition just because of that, because they have better communication, better alignment with their goal. So I think it's obviously extremely important for teamwork. And I definitely think doing some competitions, as well as, playing sports, has helped me learn how to become a good team player, as well as like a good team leader, a good team player, a good team follower. Like all those are very important skills to learn for both the workforce and then, even school, like for group projects and, pretty much all throughout your life, you're going to have to work as a team with other people. And I think it's very important to know how to create a bond with your team.
Absolutely. And how do you kind of foster that? Do you practice together? Do you enjoy each other's company socially, or how do you kind of keep the lines of communication open?
Yeah, so we definitely, for everyone that I've been on team so far, we're also just friends in general. Like a lot of us are involved in different clubs. We either help run them or else they're regular attendees of the clubs. Additionally, we'll see them we'll see each other at classes. We'll see each other. We'll have the same homework to do together. Especially since DSU is such a very tight knit small community, you're able to see people a lot more. So I know a lot of the people on campus just because I've seen them around and I remember them. And so I would say we definitely hang out and do other things apart from just competing. Obviously, we also practice as well. We have practices where we prepare for the competition. Normally, we meet once a week, maybe more if we need to, and we just go over where we are right now, where we're gonna get to, what we're gonna work on, what we want to prepare for. But there's definitely a lot of outside things that we do too. So we're also just friends in general, I guess.
Yeah. And what do you hope to participate in competitions after you graduate as well?
So I'm not sure about that one yet. I would like to, but I'm not sure if I want to participate in university competitions just because I'll be in Washington. And I'm going to do my master's online while I work full time for Microsoft in Washington State. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to do any of the school competitions. And I'm also not sure that I want to take that opportunity with someone who's actually in person on campus. But I would definitely still be involved in mentoring, especially for the girls team. A special place in my heart for it. But for CTFs in general, absolutely. 100%, I would love to keep doing those. I definitely plan on keeping doing competitions just not necessarily like the in-person school competitions.
Okay.
Depending on what happens. We'll see what happens.
And do you expect to, or can you tell me a little bit about the CTF club that you founded and kind of what your hopes are for that after you kind of pass the reins on to someone else to take that over?
Yes, absolutely. So the CTF club, I originally started it in my, spring semester of my freshman year. And it was originally just a group of friends. I was just like, hey, is it okay? I asked Tom, because he was, actually we can use a beacon room for it. I asked Tom Halverson, I was like, is it okay if like me and the group of my friends just use this room and we just like practice CTF things? Because when I'm able to do CTF with, I was like, hey guys, I can train you like on what I know so far, and we can work together and then like do more CTF. And so I think I had a group of, I think originally about 10 people who were in the classroom, and then Tom walked by and he saw that, I had slides up, and he was like, this was a club. You have to make it part of the computer club. It's like, okay. So now it's officially part of the DSU computer club, like umbrella. And we actually have the highest attendance of any of the computer clubs we've had for the past 2 years. We have a lot more than 10 people now. And yeah, and that is one of my absolute favorite things to do, because I love teaching people about what I already know and how cool like CTFs and cybersecurity are. And I know that it's going to help them a lot in the future. Like I know that pretty much every interview I've ever had has asked me about the CTF on their resume, because it stands out for them. Like it's a way to stand out. There's so many people who have a cybersecurity. They're like, oh, cybersecurity student. It's like I also do competitions. That's a big standout. And then for when I move on after I'm sort of moving on now-ish. But one of the things that I do for CTF Club is I have what I call interns, and they're basically club leaders in training. So I take a couple freshmen and sophomores each semester, and I kind of train them of how to run CTF Club. So they'll come to all of our officer meetings. Like I have like main officers. Like I have right now two or three like main officers here, and then we also have the intern underneath. So they will basically present like one slide a meeting, or like 2 slides a meeting. But they get to stand in the front of the room with us and like be part of like helping people. Like so if someone has a problem, they can help out with that. In addition to our officers. And my hope for that is that will keep going on. I know like right now I'm currently virtual for my last semester, and they've been doing amazing without me. Which I'm so proud of. I think one of the things I'm most proud of with things I start like that is if I can leave and it will still run good for me. Like that's like that, and then I know I did a good job. If it can still run without me after I leave, then I know that that they're doing good. Like they're being able to keep the legacy of CTF Club on, and I hope that will continue like throughout the generations. Hopefully, more interns will come up through the ranks, and they'll be able to. Because I know we have people graduating each year, right? And most of them is the upperclassmen who run the clubs. So I think it's very important to get a younger generation involved in also helping run the clubs, because otherwise you'll just have upperclassmen talking to upperclassmen, and then they'll graduate, and then you'll have to need someone to like restart it from the beginning. And that is a cycle that you see happen a lot in clubs in cybersecurity. Is that some people will be really good at it. They'll be there, they'll be like talking to their like upperclassmen, and then they'll all graduate. And then you have to wait for some other one to come along who's really motivated to like restart it. So I hope with CTF Club is that with the interns and the people who are doing a very good job right now. Because I know Brett, who's an officer from the CTF Club, he recently put together this whole like hardware hacking lab with the Governor's Cyber Academy on Thursday, like this Thursday. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Like we never even had a hardware hacking lab in any of the clubs. It's like a totally new innovation thing. And I'm just so proud that, they're being so successful without me there at all. So I'm extremely happy about that.
Awesome. And I want to go back to something you kind of said while we were talking about CTFs, about it being a highlight on your resume for people when they're looking at it. So can you talk a little bit about what you've heard from potential employers and internships and stuff like that when they do comment on your CTF background?
Yeah, absolutely. So what normally happens is, like, at some point during the interview, they're going to start looking at my resume or ask me questions about my resume. And one of the things that always stands out to them is CTF. So like, I think it's cool that you do competitions, or they're like, oh, I know someone who does this competition, or they'll say, I used to do this competition, um, or well, the thing with competitions is it's a very obviously, the scoring is not always accurate. Like, I'm not necessarily better than someone else in cybersecurity just because I place higher than them in one competition, right? But if you have a lot of them on your resume and you have a lot of, I guess, like success in them, or even just like you're trying a lot of them and you're improving each time. Because I know some competitions will even give you like a scoreboard report. I think National Cyber League will give you like a scoreboard report. I've personally never done National Cyber League, so don't trust me on that. But a lot of them will give you like reports for that, and some like a lot. I've seen a lot of job descriptions, like even my Microsoft internship that I got last summer. In the job description, it said like we prefer you to have done CTFs, and I've seen that being added into a lot more job descriptions as time goes on. I think the CTFs are becoming more known in the security community. Then it's being added to more and more job descriptions, and it's becoming something people look for because it's something that can make you stand out. It's like if you do, your own projects or your own research outside, like those will make you stand out. Doing competitions, another thing that will make you stand out. So with interviewers in the past, they've always like mentioned it or brought it up somehow, and like asked me what the competitions were like or what I do in a competition because I have specialties.
What are your specialties?
My specialties are binary exploitation and digital forensics.
Okay. And do you have a preference between the two?
So binary exploitation is something that I just really like learning about in general. Like it's the most interesting to me by far. But compared to some other people I know who are like absolutely insanely good at it, I'm not at the level. So if someone else is better than me at binary exploitation on the sheet, then like obviously I'll do forensics instead because I'm very good at forensics. Like that's also my minor. I'm minoring in digital forensics too.
Okay.
And it's a field that I like in general. I don't like it as much as binary exploitation. Like binary exploitation has a special place in my heart just because it's just a lot of fun to learn about. So I would say learning in general on my own and just overall, binary exploitation is definitely my favorite. But I'm very well aware that there's people on it, especially like on the national team, who are much better.
Okay. And what are there some things that you've learned from these CTF competitions that you found useful in internships and other professional facets of your life?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Especially for my first internship, which it was an internship at Raytheon, and I was a reverse engineering / vulnerability research intern. And that's basically, reverse engineering is a CTF category. And vulnerability research also has to do a lot with binary exploitation. So my experience with that came in handy a lot. Because this was when I was interviewing for the position. This was before I had taken like assembly, and they were asking me assembly questions. And the only reason I was able to answer them was because I had learned it through CTF competitions. Like I hadn't taken the class yet. I wouldn't have known anything about it.
Okay.
And not for the CTFs. Yeah.
Excellent. So, what haven't we talked about regarding competitions that you think is important for others to know in the cyber realm?
One thing I think a lot of people are kind of scared of doing competitions. Like I talk to people and they're kind of nervous about getting into them. It's like, well, I'm not going to do well. Like I'm not going to win. It's like, that's fine. You did not have to win. Just like get in there and do your best. And your best is good enough. And you know what? Like when you keep doing it, you're going to get better and better and better. And again, it's the problem solving aspect of it. You become good at solving cyber problems. And that's like a really huge skill to have. And obviously, career development as well. But I know there's a lot of people who just find it very intimidating to get into competitions first. So especially with CTF Club, I'm kind of trying to make it less intimidating, and kind of show that it's not so bad. Like you don't have to be a genius, you don't have to be an expert. You can start at the very beginning. Like that's a good place to start.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today, Gwen. I think that our listeners will be excited to learn a little bit more about competitions in the cyber realm. And maybe we can have you back on after you get your position started at Microsoft.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
It has
You
been
have a good
amazing
day.
talking to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a great day, and thank you for watching and listening to Cyberology. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe.